Hello! Today I'm going to teach you how easy it is to assemble the new Tech Wood UltraShield Natural composite decking. The decking comes in many different colors, and the color we'll be installing today is teak. With new Tech Wood UltraShield technology, you don't have to worry about the boards fading, molding, or rotting. The product is made to last for years, so you will never have to stain or paint your deck again. Let's go over some general guidelines for installing the new Tech Wood Natural composite decking. First, make sure that your joists are spaced 16 inches or 40 centimeters apart for residential decks and 12 inches or 30 centimeters for stair treads and commercial decks. If you're installing the composite decking at an angle to the joists, please refer to our joist spacing chart, which can be found in the installation instructions or on our website. If this is a remodel of an old deck, make sure that all the joists and posts are structurally sound before installing new Tech Wood deck boards. The composite decking requires a minimum support of 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters at every joist. This means you will need to install sister joists at any butt joints and a ladder joist if you're going to use a breaker board between rows. Allow boards to acclimate at the building location for 2 days prior to installation. It's important when acclimating the boards to lay them straight on a flat surface. Make sure that you have sharp carbide-tipped saw blades so that the cuts are clean. To get the most out of your composite deck, we recommend sealing all cuts and routed areas with a water-based sealant. Be sure to follow all local building codes when installing the structural frame and composite decking. If using a chalk line, use only white chalk, as any other color may permanently stain the decking. When using screws, make sure you purchase screws made for composite decking. Then, test the screws on a scrap piece to make sure it doesn't mushroom. If it does, you will need to pre-drill them. When hidden fasteners aren't being used, the decking should have 2 screws at every joist, with no screws closer than 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters to any edge. New Tech Wood offers a hidden fastening system that will space the rows approximately 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters apart. Each box contains 15 TC1 clips and 75 TC2 clips. The TC1 clips anchor the deck board to the joist, preventing any movement, while the TC2 clips allow the boards to expand and contract. It's very important to use the correct type of clip at each joist so that the deck boards will expand and contract correctly without causing buckling or warping. We'll cover that more closely in just a minute. Sold separately are the starter clips that you can use on the first board, last board, and stair treads of your deck. Each box of starter clips comes with 25 clips and screws. Deciding where to put TC2 clips, which allow movement, and where to put TC1 clips, which don't, depends on the pattern of your deck boards. The purpose behind the 2 different types of clips is that you control which direction the boards move as they expand and contract, which they will do naturally with changes in temperature. Here are the placement patterns for some of the most common scenarios you'll come across. For one board in a row with no butt joints, your locking clip goes in the center and every other joist will have TC2 clips. Only one side of the locking clips have teeth, so make sure they are correctly positioned over the board that is to be secured in place. For 2 boards in a row, your locking clips will be installed at the butt joint on both boards so that they expand away from the joint. If you have more than 2 boards in a row, the board in the middle would have locking clips at the center, and the 2 end boards would have locking clips installed at the butt joints so they expand away from the center boards. The fourth scenario is if you install a breaker board between your rows, thus eliminating the butt joints. In this situation, your locking clips go in the center of each board, similar to the first scenario. In order to secure the breaker board, cut off one wing of the TC2 clips and then slide them into place. For more information, please refer to the installation instructions, where you'll find detailed diagrams illustrating the correct clip locations for a wide variety of patterns, as well as detailed gapping requirements for the end of the rows. NewTek Wood offers 4 different board profiles in the UltraShield Natural composite decking line. The first is the circle hollow board, which has a groove on both sides. One side is smooth and the other has a wood grain texture. Either side can be facing up. This is the main board for most decks and can only be attached with the hidden fastener systems. These boards cannot be secured with screws and should never be used on stairs. Next, the solid board with grooves can also be installed with either side facing up and will work with our hidden fastener systems or with composite deck screws. The solid board with no grooves has a different pattern on each side and can be used as stair treads or regular deck boards and are attached with composite deck screws. They can be routed to accommodate hidden fasteners, but should not be routed the entire length of the board. Last, the solid stair board has a groove on one side for the hidden fasteners and one groove underneath for the starter clips. There is only one side that can be facing up with the solid stair board. It can be used as a bullnose on stair treads and as the last board at the edge of a deck. This board can be attached with our hidden fasteners, starter clips, and/or composite deck screws. NewTek Wood also offers a fascia board that can be used around the perimeter of the deck to cover the structural framework. When planning your new deck, there are some helpful things to consider before you begin installation. You'll want to figure out the overall size of your deck based on the width of your deck boards and the gaps between the rows. Also consider how the last row will be installed. Will it be cantilevered over the frame, cantilevered over a fascia, or possibly butt up against a fascia? Don't cantilever your board more than 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeters, or you will void the warranty. Once you have the design and overall footprint of the deck established, compare those measurements to the structural frame. This will tell you if you'll need to rip your last row of deck boards. If so, you may want to adjust the design of the deck, the size of the structural frame, or if you will need to cut the last row, consider where it will look the best and then start your installation on the opposite side. If you are starting your installation up against a building or wall, snap a chalk line off the wall that will be a guide for your starter clips. A common distance for this line is 1.5 inches, 38 millimeters, away from the wall, although these measurements could vary depending on your specific building conditions. Following the chalk line, pre-drill and attach a starter clip at each joist location. Then push your first board into the starter clips. If you are starting your installation on an outer edge of the deck and it will be butted up against a fascia board, follow the same process as before to install your starter clips, but adjust the measurement of your chalk line so that you will have the correct spacing between the fascia and your first row. If you're starting at the outer edge of your deck and the first board is going to be above the fascia, or if there is no fascia, use a solid stair board that has a groove routed into the bottom to accept the starter clips. Determine the location of the starter clips, keeping any cantilever at or below 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeters. Snap a chalk line, install the starter clips, and push the first board into place. This secures the front of the board without any visible fasteners. Place the clips into the groove of the boards in your first row like so, making sure to correctly place the TC1 and TC2 clips on their appropriate joists. Make sure the teeth of the locking clips are over the first row. Install the screws partway down into the joist. Now press the boards tightly together as you finish screwing down the clips. Continue this process until you get to the second to the last board. If the last row will butt up against a fascia, you will have to cut off one wing of the TC2 clips before they're installed. If the last board needs to be cut to fit, you can route small grooves to accommodate the clips using a plunge router, but you should never route the entire length of the board. If the last row will stop flush with the frame or cantilever over the edge, install the last row before you put in the second to the last row. In order to make sure there's enough room, snap a chalk line where the final row will begin, and remember not to exceed the maximum cantilever. Now install your starter clips measuring off of this line. Push the last row onto the starter clips, put the second row in place, and slide the clips in from the end. If the last board is up against a building, you'll follow the same process. Install your final board first using the starter clips, then put the second to the last board in place. Slide the clips into place and attach. When attaching a fascia, pre-drill the composite deck screw locations with holes that are larger in diameter than the composite deck screws. This will help allow for expansion and contraction of the fascia. The distance between screws should not exceed 12 inches or 30 centimeters. Use 2 screws at each location and keep in mind that screws must be 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters away from any edge. Never attach the fascia directly to any other composite decking material. Always secure the fascia directly to the structural frame. For the hollow boards, NewTek Wood offers custom end caps. To install, place some liquid nail or any other plastic-to-plastic adhesive on the back of the end cap. Then push the cap into the holes using a rubber mallet if necessary. And there you have it, a beautiful, maintenance-free, customized deck that is easy to install and will last for years to come. If you have any questions, please visit our website where you will find additional resources to make your next decking project a beautiful success.